Good afternoon, I'm Marion Gee, GFOA Board Member and Finance Director of the Metropolitan Sewer District here in St. Louis. I'm thrilled to welcome you to our wonderful city for St. Louis for the GFOA's Annual 2018 Conference. I'm especially happy to welcome our peers here today, here at the Maline Tunnel Project, which is part of our Project Clear. Project Clear is a 23-year, $4.7 billion initiative to plan, design, and build system-wide instructions to address water quality and alleviate many wastewater concerns here in the St. Louis community. This need for effective water systems has resulted in wastewater apparatus that was considered an engineering triumph at its inception, eventually producing over 9,000 miles of collection trunk sewers and force mains over the years, with some structures being declared National Historic Civil Engineering Landmarks. Evaluating through a more modern lens has revealed significant opportunities for improvement. For St. Louis to remain a leader in water management infrastructure, investment needed to be made. Project Clear is a large logistical and fiscal undertaking that will require the efforts of an entire generation of St. Louis engineers, builders, and of course, public finance officials. Municipal bonds are a sustainable and dependable financial resource, and a project of this size requires both. Project Clear is an investment in the St. Louis community to improve the quality of life. Municipal bonds allow for the needed capital up front and encourage accountability among all stakeholders. In addition, the use of municipal bonds allows my agencies to keep its rates at affordable levels by financing the cost of this project over the time period that more closely matches the useful life of the infrastructure that we're constructing. State and local officials are boots on the ground closest to the community, and municipal bonds provide the flexibility for state and local officials to tailor solutions that fit the needs of the community. Projects like this show that state and local governments are committed to the improvements their citizens deserve. And when working in partnership with the federal government, this increases the chance of success in meeting what our shared constituents need. Municipal bonds have provided the support for hundreds of years while weathering a constantly evolving fiscal landscape. Municipal bonds have been a steady source in building our country, and they will continue to finance our growth as we look forward in the future. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Pat McCoy, President of the GFOA and Director of Finance at the Metropolitan Transportation Authority of New York. I want to thank all the GFOA members for coming to St. Louis for our 112th Annual Conference. I look forward to the next few days where we will be participating in important committee work, networking with peers around the country, and enhancing our knowledge through educational sessions. In just over 1 week, many state and local leaders will be engaging in a nationwide conversation on infrastructure. We're taking a moment today as thousands of GFOA members converge on the city of St. Louis to weigh in, given GFOA's long-standing priority of protecting the tax exemption for municipal bonds. Last year in Denver, we kicked off the GFOA initiative focusing on our nation's infrastructure and the municipal bonds that built it. We've spread our message, especially through social media, by @BuiltByBonds, to educate leaders in Washington and around the country that so many vital pieces of their communities would not be possible without municipal bonds. As Director of Finance at the MTA, I can certainly attest to this. For a system that serves more than 8.5 million passengers on a daily basis, municipal bonds are the financing cornerstone that helps MTA provide transportation services that underpin the largest regional economy in our nation. And on a global scale, New York's regional economy is second only to that of Tokyo. Under the MTA's multi-credit borrowing structure, we issue about $5 billion in municipal bonds annually. While tax reform was a difficult fight, and we certainly did not escape unscathed due to the cap on the state and local tax deduction and the loss of advance refunding, we are proud that we emerged with the tax exemption for municipal bonds fully intact. Without GFOA's advocacy, state and local governments would surely have fared worse in 2017 tax reform. Now that the tax exemption has survived 2 comprehensive tax reform efforts, it's encouraging to know that Congress and the administration certainly heard our message. But that doesn't mean our work is done. For one, we saw the elimination of advance refunding. There is still need to educate members of Congress on the finance tools that are important to state and local governments, especially ones that can help save taxpayer dollars. Second, we've seen the administration's infrastructure plan that calls on state and local governments to put more skin in the game for infrastructure. This despite the fact that state and local governments already provide 75% of the financial support for our nation's infrastructure. Therefore, we need to continue reminding our federal partners of our nation's intergovernmental partnership is successful when each level of government, federal, state, and local, meets their responsibility, whether it's in the form of funding or financing. No one can do this alone. That is why I'm happy to join my GFOA colleagues here today in sending this message out on public finance and infrastructure and investment. Municipal bonds have a proven track record that spans over a century and 2 comprehensive tax reforms. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Debby Cherney. I'm the Deputy General Manager for the Eastern Municipal Water District in Southern California. I'm happy to lend my voice today on the important role that public finance plays in infrastructure investments. Our primary responsibilities at Eastern are to provide safe, clean drinking water to over 815,000 customers in Riverside County, California, to handle wastewater treatment and collection for those same customers. And because water is too precious to be used just once, we convert that into recycled water that provides 1/3 of the total water supplies for our area. The Water District is a major economic driver for one of the fastest growing regions in the country. We currently maintain several $1 billion of infrastructure. But to keep up with the growth in our region and ensure reliable water supplies, we will need to continue building and improving, and municipal bonds are going to be a fundamental piece of how we meet that challenge. Tax-exempt municipal bonds help us cost-effectively finance treatment facilities, energy efficiency projects, water storage and distribution networks, and drought-proof water supply development. Those bonds are one of the most cost-effective ways to finance needed infrastructure, saving our ratepayers millions of dollars each year. I know what municipal bonds mean for my district is the same for my peers here today, and the thousands more coming here to St. Louis. That's why it's important for GFOA to be one of the primary organizations carrying this message. Municipal bonds and public finance is what our more than 19,000 members do on a day-to-day basis. This is our expertise. We do the analysis and implement the strategy that maintains and builds the infrastructure that supports our local communities. The work finance officers do is something we take very seriously and is the reason why we have thousands of members coming here together at this conference. Pat McCoy alluded to this earlier, but the conferences are where finance officers talk and learn not only from each other, but from subject matter experts as well. In just a few days, GFOA members will be able to participate in sessions that focus on debt management best practices, updates on the bond market, and infrastructure finance strategies, to name just a few. This brings us back to why GFOA will continue pushing this message on municipal bonds. They're at the core of what we do for our respective jurisdictions, and they're at the core of who we are as an organization. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Steven Gibson, President-elect of the GFOA and Deputy City Manager for the City of Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're the 5th largest city in South Carolina with close to 73,000 residents, but a small city compared to many. However, even in smaller governments, the tax-exempt municipal bond plays a key role in the provision of essential services. In Rock Hill, water, sewer, and plant infrastructure projects currently in design total over $350 million. Looking forward to the coming year as GFOA President, I'm eager to continue carrying this message during all opportunities to speak on behalf of the GFOA. On May 16th, GFOA will be hosting an event during this year's Infrastructure Week, where they'll be joined by other public issuers to share the message that municipal bonds are the past, the present, and the future of our nation's infrastructure. GFOA will also continue leading the efforts in the Public Finance Network in Washington, D.C., in order to highlight ways that Congress and the administration can help infrastructure investment by enhancing the ability of public issuers to access capital markets. I invite GFOA members to do the same. There are numerous times throughout the year when you'll have an opportunity to talk to your congressional delegation, especially when they're back home for district work periods. Please do not hesitate to use GFOA resources when conducting that critical outreach. Today, we're happy to be at the Maline Tunnel site here in St. Louis to show the strength and the magnitude of the municipal bond. I know there are so many other projects out there that are built by bonds that can show the breadth and power of the municipal bond. These are projects that we're all proud of. Speak up now. Show Congress the projects that are #BuiltByBonds. Describe to them how important this infrastructure is to your community, and help preserve this incredibly important tool for years to come. Thank you.